Just how are you all doing? I hope that you have had an amazing week. Listen, we've had some hot ones even here in the Midwest, right? And before I go any further, let me just say for those of you who are watching, whether you're on YouTube or whether you're watching in my private group on Facebook, welcome to you. My name is Lexi Johnson. I'm an international speaker, licensed financial coach, advisor, consultant. This is the Wealth Seed. So, welcome to another episode of the Wealth Seed. And as I was saying, my goodness, we've had some hot days, even here in the Midwest, right? So, I know I'm looking a little crazy today. Maybe I look a little crazy every day, right? Or every time I come on here. But I'm certainly looking a little crazy today. I got my true glasses on, right? No contacts, nothing like that. It's hot, y'all. Listen, I'm trying to keep cool in this place. Okay. So and no makeup. I don't hardly wear any anyway. Sometimes when I come on here, I'll do up my lips a little bit, maybe something on my eyes or something. But I don't even wear that much anyway. But I truly ain't got nothing on today, so I'm looking crazy. But it don't matter, right? Because I'm coming to give you some nuggets for today as it relates to creating wealth. So, what do we do here on the Wealth Seed? Listen, we help profitable women entrepreneurs of color to take control of their money and grow wealth God's way. That's what we do. We are on a mission to change the face of wealth. And so, thank you for joining us on this mission. If you're watching, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay, let us know who you are and where you're watching from. I always like to acknowledge those who watch. And also, if you are watching on YouTube, like the video, share the video, okay? And subscribe. Well, let's get into it. As usual, I have a crazy money story for you. Last time we did one on inheritance, and I said that I would probably do another one on inheritance. So this is a crazy inheritance story, money inheritance story. So listen, so this took place in 1968. Okay, there was a man in the UK who left money in a trust. Okay, no big deal. A lot of people leave money in a trust. This is what a lot of wealthy people do. They establish a trust and they put money in it. And depending on the type of the trust and the rules set up for the trust, right? This person, this particularly, especially if it's the one that's to be um, handled like after the person dies. This is what people do. This man, okay, he left money in a trust, and normally people leave it to, I don't know, their children, business partners, charitable organizations, churches. I mean, you can leave the money to whomever you would like to leave the money to. In fact, the last money story that we talked about, the woman had left the money to a dog. Okay, left the money to a dog. And so certainly you can do that too. But this one, let me tell you all who this man left this money to. This man left the money in a trust for, are you ready? Wish I had like a drum roll sound that I could play right now. He left the money in trust to Jesus Christ. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Now, can you imagine being the person who has to manage this trust for him, which you call a trustee? Very, very interesting, right? So let me give you the details about it. So this happened a while ago, 1968. And this is a man who resided, remember again, he's in the UK, Hampshire specifically. And he directed that his estate, which at that time was £26,000. Today, £26,000 in US dollars is $31,948.80 to be exact. So he directed that it be placed in a trust and left for Jesus Christ. So his will, okay, because these things often work together, a trust, a will, powers of attorney, all of these things work together. The will stipulated that if Jesus didn't claim it within 80 years, it was to be passed back to the crown. Okay, so it hasn't been 80 years yet, so it's still here. And as far as I know, Jesus Christ hasn't claimed it yet. And even according to the article where I read this, they said the lawyer that's handling the case told a Chicago newspaper that the main stumbling block is the difficulty in proving that Christ, proving Lord Jesus Christ himself, right? Who can tell who is the real Jesus Christ? So therein lies the problem, right? We know we got all kinds of people out here talking about their Christ, their Jesus, their the Messiah, and all that. The Bible tells us that, there are going to be many false prophets that rise up. But very interesting because I would love to see how this pans out in 80 years if Christ returns and if he claims the money, right? Or if, the money goes back to the crown, and what will the crown do with it? And so, if you don't know, the crown is obviously England, the government. So that's our crazy money story for today. Put in the comments what you think about that story. What do you think about that story? It's really interesting, and as the trustee, I don't know, if the only rule was that, it is crazy. First of all, proving the Lord Jesus Christ, as a person, but then there's also, the work of the Lord. But I guess he didn't leave it specifically for the work of the Lord, right? Because then that would have been a little bit easier. They could have identified, organizations or churches or whatever were doing the work of the Lord. So that's very, very interesting. Very interesting. Love to see your comments about it below. All right. So today what I want to talk about is 7 steps to wealth, right? And why most people never achieve it. Why most people never achieve it. Listen, in the United States, 95% of people are not wealthy. Okay. There's 5% that you would consider wealthy, that are doing okay. And then you've got an upper out of that, an upper 1% or 2% that are way beyond wealthy, right? But the 95% are not. They're not leaving, a lot of wealth. They're not, just not. And so why is it that in the United States, 95% of people don't achieve wealth? I don't know what the statistics are for other countries, but you can best believe that they are following suit, like in this, in the same vein, right? The majority of their people are not wealthy, and then there's a small percentage of people that are. And so I want to talk today about 7 steps to wealth. And before we do that, though, I want to talk about why people are not wealthy. So I heard taught, if you will, in a Bible study led by Apostle Juanita, who's also in our Money Mastery group there on Facebook, that poverty or prosperity, it's a choice, right? And this is certainly facts. And some might argue, well, how can you say that? Some circumstances, blah, blah, blah. But then you have to say, all right, if you've got person A and person B who are in the same set of circumstances, living in the same, create whatever the situation, projects, attending the same public schools, and I don't have anything against these places or people. This is just an example, okay? Before y'all start saying, she thinks that all these people here are, impoverished. No, it's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, create whatever scenario you want to create. Put 2 people there. One, okay, comes out wealthy. One does not. Flip the script. Even they don't even have to be in an impoverished place. They could be, in a wealthy neighborhood. 2 people, same set of circumstances, whatever those circumstances that you want to put, right? And one of them can come out wealthy and another one can come out not. It has happened, right? And so, how does that happen? Well, I submit to you, as was taught in Bible study, that it's a choice. And not only is it a choice, but it is a series of choices. It's a series of, because then whatever you choose, right, then leads to, because you choose it here in your mind first, and then it leads to behaviors. Okay. So there is a series of behaviors that lead to whether one is impoverished or whether one is wealthy. Okay. And in this instance, we're talking about money, right? Because poverty and prosperity don't necessarily, it's not just all about money, right? But in this case, we're talking about money. And so what happens is, and it can be any series of choices along the way, right? And as I talk about these 7 steps, any wrong choice in any at any one of these steps can cause one to be in poverty or one to be impoverished. Okay. So let's go through the steps. Number 1, wisdom. Okay. First thing that we want to do as kingdom citizens who want to become wealthy, and we want to do it God's way, is we must seek wisdom. We must seek to understand money the way God sees it. We must seek to understand what God placed money on this earth for. We must seek to understand how God will provide us this resource of money, right? What are the things that we need to do? How do we need to be in alignment with God so that we can tap into this resource of money? So that's the first step, is that we have to get wisdom, right? And as I mentioned, according to the Bible study that I just shared with you all, where I got this from, there are choices that we make along the way. So many people choose not to seek wisdom, okay? And whether intentionally or unintentionally. See, the first way that we choose not to seek the wisdom is simply by, not wanting to read the word, choosing not to read the word intentionally now, okay? I don't have time for it. I don't, whatever the excuses are, but it's an intentional, I'm not seeking the wisdom. The other is, I don't have the wisdom. I know I don't have the wisdom or whatever, not interested in seeking it. Or that's the first one. The other one is I've only listened to people tell me what God says, but I have not gone and looked for myself. In other words, I am perpetuating whatever limiting beliefs, whether they're, good applications of, when it comes to money from the Bible, or negative applications of it. I am just perpetuating that without having gone and studied myself about it, right? So the first step is that we got to get wisdom. All right. The second is that we got to get organized in our finances. And so many of us don't want to do that because, number one, it's boring, right? It's not the sexiest thing to do. I know, right? Number two, a lot of us are afraid to kind of see where we are because we know that things are a mess. Okay. But for some reason, if I don't look at it, I guess maybe it won't get any messier. I don't know. Right. Or we are afraid to look at it because we just don't want to make any changes in our behavior. And if we find that, if we look at it and now we're confronted with, I've got to change some things. Oh gosh, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes, we don't even have to change everything we think we have to change. We just have to make some tweaks. But that's the thing. So we choose either to get organized in our finances or we don't. Met with a client yesterday, and she really brought, a smile to my eyes. She always does, because when she meets, she's always on it, right? But she shared with me a couple of examples of how her behavior has changed as it relates to her money. And even she was talking about, even as she walked into a particular store to get something, she walked me through her thought process of how she was thinking about making this purchase and the consequences of the purchase, and or the benefits of the purchase and all of this. So she walked me through that entire process, and I'm like, wow, here is a woman who's implementing, who has sought out wisdom and implementing it, right? Who is in the process, who's gotten, in the process of getting organized, and her behaviors are changing as a result. Okay. So number one, get wisdom. Number two, you got to get organized in your finances. Where are you? Got to know where you are, right? In order to then talk about where I'm going, to even, and then even talk about how to get there, right? So get organized. Number three, the next thing is to set goals. Listen, I'm not surprised, but it may surprise you how many people don't set good financial goals. Okay. They'll just say, oh, I want to make this kind of money someday. That's it. I want to be a millionaire. That's it. There are no concrete goals. It's like, when is this going to happen? Right. And then the action plan, right? Some people don't even have really a dollar amount to any of their financial goals, right? I want to buy a house, but they haven't sat there and figured out, like, how much would the house be? Where would the house be? All of these kinds of things, right? And oftentimes, even if they decided, like, where would the house be and what the house would look like, nobody's still talking about dollars and cents, right? So we've got to set good financial goals. All right. Good financial goals. So number one, wisdom. Number two, get organized in your finances. Number three, set good financial goals. Number four is an action plan. Okay. So it's not good enough just to set the goals, but now you got to put together an action plan. And I typically say, if you haven't gotten any help from a professional thus far, then you definitely want to get help when it comes to the action plans. But you really should have help through the whole process, because you don't know what you don't know, period. Okay. And then when it comes to the action plan, there are strategies that someone else may be aware of, a professional may be aware of, that you have no idea of, right? Or they can help you minimize mistakes. They can help you collapse the time frame and help you to reach those goals quicker, right? So an action plan, okay? It's not good enough just to set goals, but you have to have an action plan. How is this going to get done? And things have to be very specific. If you're a business owner, okay, how am I going to achieve this? I got this product, right? But it's not going to be just this one product that gets me there. I got this one product. And remember, a product can create 10 other needs, right? So how do you diversify your income within your business? And that income, once you get that income, what is the plan for that income so that it begins to work for you? What is the action plan, right? It's not simply that I'm going to go make this money, because if you have no plan for the money, guess what? It gets wasted. Okay, it gets wasted. So number one, wisdom. Number two, get organized in your finances. Number three, you got to set good financial goals. Number four, you got to have an action plan, okay, for those goals. All right. Number five, you've got to implement the plan and be consistent in it. Okay. Implement it and be consistent in your implementation of it. So a lot of people, and hopefully you can see at each one of these steps, you can choose not to do it. And in your choice not to do it, you're choosing poverty, right? All right. So now implementing the plan and being consistent. This is where people, hey, Demetrius, good to see you. So this is where people, a lot of people will drop the ball, because they may begin to do, okay, what was recommended for them to do. We're trying to change some behaviors. And this is the portion that can be hard for everybody. Changing behavior is not easy, because in order to change behavior, what you have to do is change this. And oftentimes changing this it's easy, but it's not easy. It's easy. No, it's simple, but it's not easy. Okay. So this is the piece, right? So it makes it hard to to implement the plan. And if you implement the plan, then the next level of that is being consistent. Okay. Being consistent. Some people will practice it, do a new habit for a week or two, and then it falls off. So there are different studies that say, you need to do a new habit for 28 days, or you need to do it, some say even longer, right? But whatever the case may be, you have to keep going until it becomes consistent, and then it becomes just second nature. Okay. So wisdom, get organized. Goals, number 3. Action plans, number 4. Number 5 is consistency, implementation and consistency. Number 6 is evaluate. Okay. Now you have to, every so often, you have to evaluate how things are going. Okay. So this is yet another area where a person can choose poverty, because they can not evaluate. They can just get on this path. They can get consistent. But just because you implement and get consistent does not mean that this is the course of action that you take the rest of your life. No, it's not, because you will encounter different things will happen. There's so many different variables, right? Where it may cause you to have to evaluate, reevaluate, and readjust, or maybe no adjustment is needed. But you will not know that unless you evaluate. Okay. Number 1, wisdom. Number 2, get organized. Number 3, goals. Number 4, action plans. Number 5, implementation and consistency. Number 6, evaluation. You're saying, why you keep repeating that? Because I already know. I think that would be me when I'm taking notes. If someone's speaking too fast, I missed number 1. Can you go back and get it? I missed number 3. So I'm repeating these so you guys can get them, right? And write them down. All right. So now we are at the final one, number 7, which is a rinse and repeat. Because when you get to number 6 and evaluate, there are a couple of things that you can be looking at. You can be looking at, okay, kind of maintaining, where you are for now, or you can be looking at going to the next level. And in either case, it requires a rinse and repeat. In either case, if you go in next level, you got to get more wisdom. If you're maintaining, you got to make sure that you're right there. You have the wisdom and understanding that you need, right? You got to remain organized. You got to continue to remain organized. Getting organized in your finances is not a one-time thing. It's getting organized and then making sure you stay organized. The first time you get organized, it can be a little, it could be a little hectic. It could be a little chaotic. It could be a little, painful even, especially if you had never been organized in your finances to begin with. But once you get organized, maintaining that organization is easier. And then again, you may need to make, if you're moving up to new levels, if you're doing some new things, then you may need to tweak your organization and how you keep your finances and how things are organized, right? So it's a rinse and repeat, okay? Whether you're maintaining the status quo or whether you're like, I'm moving to the next level, it's a rinse and repeat. Wisdom and understanding, get organized, goals, set your goals, make your action plans, right? Implement and those action plans and be consistent, and evaluate or reevaluate, right? And then within each one of those, right, it can look different for each person. Okay. It can look different for each person, which is why I highly recommend that you have a professional that is helping you, a financial coach. And the type of professional that you have is important too, right? Because if someone is just simply a financial advisor, they're not trying to do all this with you. They're just trying to manage whatever money you give them, period. Okay. That's not their role to do all of the rest of these steps with you. But a financial coach, a planner, consulting, if you can get a person that's all of these in one, like myself, then you hit the jackpot, right? But get professional help, because again, like I said, you don't know what you don't know. There are various strategies that you may not be aware of that can get you there quicker. And the thing that really, if you want to know, the thing that really, really gets me, the thing that really, really bothers me, the thing that really bugs me, the thing that is one of my pet peeves is that people won't go through these steps. And so, as I mentioned, as we started this conversation, then they never get to a place of wealth because they will not do these steps. And it's like, if you won't even do the first run through, because remember, I'm saying like you do a rinse and repeat, but if you won't even do the first run through, how do you ever get to the next level? I would love to spend more time talking about advanced strategies. I would love to spend more time talking about advanced strategies. But the truth is, 95% of people aren't there. And just trying to get them to do this first round of these steps that I've talked about, difficult, because you can see with any one of these steps, people can just jump off the boat, right? And choose poverty. But I hope that you who are listening, that you will not choose poverty, right? That you will start this process. You'll be committed to the process, right? You'll see it through, and that you will be someone who can move on to the advanced strategies. There is so much out there. Oh, you guys just don't know. There's so much out there, so many different ways that wealth can be built. There, no one has an excuse. No one has an excuse. So, hope you enjoyed today's um, broadcast, today's podcast. I'd like to hear your feedback. What are your thoughts? And if you are someone who needs that assistance, right? You're like, okay, I am making this commitment that I'm going to do these steps. I'm going to follow through because I am consciously choosing wealth. And at some point, I want to subconsciously choose wealth too, right? If you are a person who wants to do that, then reach out to me, right? You can email me at hello@thelexijohnson.com. You can go to my website, www.thelexijohnson.com. You can go to my calendar. I'm going to put it here in the chat for you. Give me just a second. There it is. You can go to my, to my calendar and directly, get on my calendar that way. That link that I have there is for our first initial consult. There is no fee for that. So we can just talk about what it is that you're trying to do and if I'm able to help you or not. Listen, don't be out there trying to do this on your own, because with my help, you can get it done faster, less mistakes, right? And so, and you have someone in your corner cheering you on and saying, hey, stay with it, stick to stay on course, stick to the plan, whatever the case may be, right? Because if you are surrounded by other people who don't think like this, who are not yet ready to change their minds about, or they're watching you as you do certain things or don't do certain things anymore because you have a plan for your money, they can say all kinds of things, right? So you need to be with like-minded people. You need to have someone like myself in your corner. You need to be a part of our Facebook group. And I'm going to, for my YouTube folks, I'm going to drop that in the chat too. Like if you do go to Facebook and do a search, just put in a search bar, Money Matching for Her or MM4H. It'll come up. Okay. The group, you'll see the group come up. Join the group so you can be among like-minded people. All right. I'm getting out of here. Hope that this was very helpful to you all. This has been Lexi Johnson, and we'll see you next time with another installment of The Wealth Seed. Bye.